2-point perspective. You can see I'm facing a corner and I have 2 halls. It's very wide angle on my camera. It's going to be a wide angle on my drawing as well. We're not going to be doing parallel and perpendicular as in 1-point perspective. Rather, 2-point perspective. This can be inside. It can also be outside. I've got my sketchbook here, which is small enough to fit on my lap. I've also got a pencil and a ruler and sharpener, eraser, and a calculator. The only reason you're going to use the ruler is for measurement. We're not going to use the ruler for anything to do with straight lines. There are really no straight lines here. They are straight, but they'll be perceived more as curved because we're such a wide angle. We're going to be drawing from one vanishing point to the other. So everything between my 2 vanishing points is going to be in my drawing. I'm going to start just with a little bit of a border on my paper using a really soft pencil. This is a 4B, mostly so that you can see better what's going on. Otherwise, I'd probably be using a 2B. Very first thing that I want to figure out is where is my horizon line or my eye level in the space. So it's the space where my eye comes across, and I can hold up a pencil and figure out where that is, right across the space. And we can tell where it is with my eyes coming across. You can see it. It comes up to about where? Just above this line here. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just above the 6th cinder block in the hall. And there are 12.5 cinder blocks, so I'm just a bit below halfway. You could measure that in the space where you are. The eye level is going to be in relation to the floor and the ceiling of your space. If you're outside, your eye level is in relation to where the bottom of your structure is and the top of your structure. So we're going to draw that just slightly below halfway on my paper. This is our horizon line, just slightly below halfway. Search that out. All right, now we need to identify where the vanishing points are in the space. There's going to be a vanishing point down there, and you can basically follow any of these strong lines that converge on the vanishing point. You can see it even in the reflection on the floor. Wherever that crosses your horizon line, or just halfway up on that side, it's the same on this side. You can follow these strong lines down and find out where your vanishing points are. So I'm looking at a vanishing point that is going to be about right there. Right about there in the hall on that side, and probably about right there in that hall on that side, wherever these lines would converge. I'm going to count the amount of pencils I have between my vanishing points. I'm going to lock my arm out. This is very important that you don't bend your arm. Lock the arm out. You're in a fixed position. I'm going to put the butt of my pencil right on that vanishing point, and then I'm going to make a little tick mark in the air and memorize where that tick mark is on the architecture. Count 1, move the butt to the tick mark, make a new one. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6.5 pencils. Maybe even more, like 6 3/4. So I'm going to write that on my paper. 6.75. This unit of measurement is going to become really important for the whole drawing, so don't cheat yourself on this. 6.75 pencils. I'm going to use my ruler now, and I'm going to measure the actual drawn horizon line. I have 16.25 or 16.25 inches. And we want to figure out how many times does 6.75 divide into 16.25. Grab your calculator. 6 13.25 divided by 6.75, you get 2.4, which is close to 2 3/8 of an inch. It's right between 2 3/8 and 2.5. We could think of that as 2 7/16. 7 divided by 16 is 0.4375. So we're going to measure every 2 7/16 of an inch, which is basically right there. And we're going to make a mark on our horizon line. And I'm doing it from the right because that's the way I counted. If you counted from the left vanishing point to the right vanishing point, you'd measure this out according to that count. And we're just going to put little tick marks every 2 7/16 of an inch. This is what works on my drawing. You'd have to use the same principles and map this out for your drawing. It may not be the same measurements. We have probably different lengths of pencils and also different arm lengths. So those would be some variables. And there you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 3/4 units across my horizon line. So these are scaled down versions of what I was doing with my pencil in the space. So my vanishing points are on these extreme edges, and there's my pencil count all the way through. Once you've done this and mapped it out, your next step is to figure out where your prominent vertical line is. My prominent vertical line is right here. And since I have a corner projecting towards me, that's what it's going to be. But if I were in an interior space that didn't have this hall turning the corner like this, it might be a prominent vertical, but it might be an inside corner rather than a projecting corner. I want to figure out how many pencils I have between the right vanishing point and this line, and the left vanishing point and this line. So I'm going to lock my arm out. It's different if you hold your pencil this way compared to if you hold your pencil this way, and this is the way I held it in the first place. So we're going to count the butt of my pencil on the right vanishing point. 1, 2, 3 and a half. 1, 2, 3 and a bit. That makes sense. So 1, 2, 3 and a half is where that line is going to come through, basically right in the middle of my page. That makes sense. So I'm going to draw this probably longer than it needs to be and very soft. And that's basically where that prominent line crosses my horizon line. I don't know how long it is. I don't know how much of it is below compared to how much is above, but I know where it comes in terms of this lateral movement horizontally through the page. Now, I want to figure out how much of that line is above my horizon line and how much is below my horizon line. We want to be able to measure our pencils here. So I'm going to put the butt of my pencil down at the bottom. I'm going to count 1, 2. Oh, it's like perfectly 3 pencils long. Well, I know 3 pencils long is basically this almost 2.5 inch length times 3. Well, 2.5 times 3 is 7.5 inches. It's going to be a little bit less than that, but close to that. How much of it is below and how much is above my horizon line? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My horizon line is just higher than the 6th cinder block, so it's going to be almost half and half. So if this is 2.4 times 3, 7.2 inches. Basically divide that in half and you get 3.5 and let's say 3.7 above. So you're going to use your ruler again. 3.5 below. Once again, this is my measurement, not yours. there's 0 to 3.5 inches to the horizon line, and then 0 to 3.7 above the horizon line. And that gives me the termination points of my prominent vertical line right down through here. Draw it soft to begin with. So this much of that line is below, this much is above, and that line is that long in proportion to our scaled down pencil lengths. So once we have our prominent vertical line, and I might as well draw it in sharp now. We've got that prominent vertical line. We want to connect it to our vanishing points. So all of these lines, let's call this our Z, and this one on this side can be our X vanishing point. So all of our Z-axis lines will vanish or converge on the right side for the Z vanishing point, and all of the X's will go to the X vanishing point. So right now this is where the ceiling and that wall meet. And we can search that line out softly. Do the same thing over here. Soft and light, because there will be some things that we'll be erasing. If you can do the drawing right at this point, from here on out, everything else is going to fit. Everything's going to work just fine. If you don't do this right, this is all going to be messed up. So make sure that you count and mark and scale down that pencil. Make sure that this prominent vertical comes across the horizon line in the right spot compared to the vanishing points, that it's the right length, and that it's the right amount above and below. All of these little marks are going to help us position all the details on the walls. All the details on the walls will help us position the ceiling and the floor. So let's figure out, first of all, by measuring once again, what is one pencil's length away, if anything, from the right side. As it turns out, there's one pencil's length away, and we get the locker right there, this edge of the locker. One pencil's length away from the vanishing point. Well, one pencil's length away from the vanishing point on the right side is this mark. So that's where that locker is going to be. So we're going to draw that line in very softly, which is amazing because that gives us very little space on the page to draw where the bathrooms go in, and the drinking fountain, and the other row of lockers, and even the wall that intersects. And then from here, almost to here, is this one bank of lockers right here, which takes up a lot more of the space proportionally. Okay, what about on this side? What is one pencil's length away from the left vanishing point? As it turns out, this door frame right here, one pencil's length away, is the far edge of this door frame right here. We actually haven't marked one pencil's length away, but we can turn that around. That was 2 7/16 of an inch, and we'll have that landmark door coming right through here. It doesn't go all the way to the top, probably about right there. In fact, once we have those door frames in, we may as well just draw down to the vanishing point and across. And that's where we have the top of all those doors on this side. We don't have any doors on the other side, so we don't need to worry about doors on the other side, but I do have 3 doors on this side, and they're going to be tricky for sure. Fortunately for me, I can see that as I measure from this prominent vertical to this door right here, I actually have one pencil's length, and that's helpful because I can mark that on my page as that scaled down pencil length, which is 2 7/16. And so I can mark that, and I have the near edge of the closest door. So all of my doors take place here. Okay, well that's very helpful. Where is the end of the hall down here in relation to the vanishing point? I'm going to just see it's about half a pencil's length away, which is right here. There's the end of the hall. There we go. And the top. Make this a little more clear. There we go. While we're at it then, you see there's a line that intersects here for the other hallway, down here. We're not just going to make those horizontal, they actually connect to the vanishing point on the right side, all the way down here. So there's just a slight tilt here as it goes that way, and here as it goes that way and out. There we go. There's the hall back there, and here. Getting that wide angle here. The same thing is going to happen down here, but we don't know quite where the end of this hall is in relation to our vanishing point. It's also about half a pencil, as it turns out. Let me measure that again, just to make sure. Yeah, a little bit less than half a pencil. So I'm just going to eyeball that. It's about right there, because this is my pencil length on the paper. So here's the end of our hall there. We'll have similar intersecting points here and here. Time to sharpen my pencil, and in fact, I'm going to switch pencils to something a little lighter and sharper just for these other lines. They're going to connect on to the left vanishing point. Once again, we're not using a ruler. We're just following. There we go. Okay. So we can't darken these lines yet because we have some places where, for instance, the bathroom comes in. We can't do that, and there's this little alcove above the lockers, so I don't want to darken those lines yet because I'm just going to be erasing them later on. But we're building it. It's coming along. What about, let's get our baseboard intact here. Baseboard comes up to about right here on the drawing. So that gives you a point to connect to your vanishing point. All the way down the hall on both sides. And make sure your elbow is articulate as you draw this line. If it's stiff, you're going to make a really weird looking line. And we'll fix that. Let's see. All right, we'll keep darkening that as we need it. We're just getting gestures out here right now. You'll notice that there are lines continuing on the ceiling. The seams of the tiles are going to be important. The lights themselves go down to the vanishing points. So we're going to need to put those in as well. Might as well get those in before we get too detailed here. For instance, there's this seam that comes off of this corner, basically, onto the ceiling and into our math. About like that. And then on this side, probably about from here down to, I don't know, where, well, this will be pretty easy to get this one tile line coming up from, it's almost directly overhead, but it's just a little bit of a tilt there. Don't want it bending too much. How about that right there? And there's this one. Oh, maybe a little wider than that. Probably about like that. Maybe even just a little wider. Little adjustments make a big difference. Our ceiling, our lights might be let's do that one and that one. Okay, so I've got the lighting track coming down here on the right hallway. On the left hallway, it looks kind of more like maybe like this. Yeah. Connecting to the vanishing point. Coming up. I like that. Adjustments as you observe. Okay, lighting tracks in place. Mapped out lots of things on the wall. Let's do a little bit more on this right wall. I want to figure out where this line comes down, where it shows where the bathroom is coming through, so that I can get all of that worked out. So we'll do a measurement again. How far away is that line from the right vanishing point? It would be about 2/3 of the pencil length from the vanishing point. And this is a full pencil length. 2/3 is about right through here. And that's the far edge of the opening to the bathroom, right there. It has a little tiny wall width. About like that. And then here's the rest of where the bathroom is. Right there. So now we can draw this line dark. Comes down the hall. This is the lockers. So we keep going to the right there. The locker line comes up right here, all the way to the ceiling, before this point comes to the X vanishing point, just briefly. And then down just a little bit. And then you have this new point right here. It comes from this Z vanishing point and up. There's a thickness to the cinder block. Right there. Do a little bit of erasure. I'm going to take this line off now. And we can kind of sharpen this line back here. Now that we've got the gesture in. And then our lockers. They come, how far up are they? Oh, we're trying to figure out how many pencil lengths do we have, right? From this point right here down to here. So I'm going to measure that. 1, 2, about 2 1/3. So that would be one, two, and 1/3, which is like right there. Looks about right. Down to the vanishing point. The lockers are going to go down all the way across this line right here. That's the top of the lockers. But they stop temporarily right here. And they will catch back up later on. Sharpen this. Right there. Lots and lots of lockers going down the hall. Big bay of lockers, edge of the cinder block. This goes back. Actually, this might be more like this. Let's fix that a little bit. I don't usually use erasers for fixing mistakes, but every once in a while you gotta do it. But if you're doing it all the time, it means you're not drawing correctly, and you need to stop and evaluate. What am I doing wrong? Fix that rather than fix the drawing all the time. There's something you don't understand if you're always using erasers to fix mistakes. Fix the understanding. There we go. That's better. Clarifying things now. All right, we have a little trash can. We're going to put that in today, just a tiny little trash can right there. It's down lower. It takes up a tiny bit of the hallway. Might as well have it in. Little cylinder. And the drinking fountain is back here. So all these little details are just minuscule on the drawing. And then here's the other bay of lockers right here. We're going to subdivide the lockers. It'll be a pretty easy job because we have only to worry about we don't have to make a diagonal vanishing point or anything like that because there are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lockers all the way down. So that makes it super easy, our subdivisions vertically, because 8 is based on exponents of 2. So what we do here is we take the full locker bank And we take a diagonal from one corner to the other. And then the opposite diagonal. Wherever those two cross, right here, we have our first division. 4 lockers on this side, 4 lockers on that side. And we have a new diagonal here, our new corner for our diagonals. Another division here, so this is our quarter division here. I'll do another one here to here, drawing this with a much lighter pencil. So here's another one here. One quarter, 2, 3, 4 quarters, and now we can subdivide into eighths. Okay, so we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 vertical divisions on those lockers. For the horizontal divisions, a little bit more difficult. It starts easy. You've got your diagonal already set all the way across here, all the way across here, which gives you this point connected to the vanishing point and drawn across the lockers, which gives us our halfway division there. The other divisions are thirds, and we can simply eyeball where those might be. Maybe one right here, one right here. Make adjustments as needed. Another third here and here maybe. Here. Okay, good. Let's make those a little darker. And there's all those lockers. The lockers all the way down the hall. Won't have a whole lot of detail on them because they're so far down there. You wouldn't really have to measure all that out. All right, pretty much done with that wall in terms of the lines. We could put more details in if we felt like it. we'll do some shading later. On this side, I'm gonna look at my pencil lengths, and I think I might have something off. One full pencil is there, that's good. Another full pencil between here and the near edge of the far door. So that was going to be right there. I think that's the near edge of the far door. That's going to make more sense. Yeah. And we're going to put the far edge of the far door about right there. There's one door there, and then there's kind of a space between them. It's not the same as the width of the door itself. One more door about right there. And then there's just some boards, little cloth hanging on the wall. It takes a tiny bit of space. You gotta be careful not to think about how wide that thing actually is. It's foreshortened, and so it's not gonna take a lot of space. And neither are those billboards. People always draw these far too large. They're really not taking up a lot of space. They go down below the horizon line. Two of them there. About like that. Okay, we'll sharpen those up in a minute. Let's get the baseboards in. Alrighty. The last really big challenge before we get to shading are the lights. What do we do with the lights? We've got the lighting tracks in, and we've got to try to figure out how the diminishing perspective works on these lights. It's a horizontal plane, so we know that the diagonal vanishing point on horizontal plane diminishing perspective is going to be on the horizon line somewhere. And we still have our horizon line in here. So we just have to start figuring out, for instance, where is this light? Maybe the near edge of this light, where does it come across? Something I've already drawn, which is this line right here. Comes across about right there, maybe right along the edge, the far edge of the near locker. And then we could figure out where that is and draw it in. And then we need to figure out where the next one is. And if we're going to draw the near edge of the near light, we need to draw the near edge of the next light. And where does that come across? Something we've already drawn about right there. Yeah, so if we bring this up to there, connect to the X vanishing point, and draw this out across the lighting track. This is the near edge of the near light. Now we want to find out the near edge of the next light. It comes across right about right here. I'm comparing it to this line. There's a point there. Connect to the vanishing point. And there's the near edge of the next light. So I'm going to sharpen some of these things up so we can see what we're looking at. We've got the near edge of the nearest light coming right through here on the lighting track. Here's a point. Here's a point. The near edge of the next light is down here, coming across the lighting track from this point to that point. So we have a full unit now, right here. I can erase some of this stuff to make it a little bit more intelligible what's going on. Some of this searching line is kind of getting in the way. Pretty dirty magic rubber eraser. Sometimes you gotta clean it up on your jeans, on some carpet or something, get all that excess graphite off of the thing, so it will pick up new graphite from your drawing a little bit better. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we have this one full unit that represents a light and 4 tiles. We've got our corners that go across. It's obvious if we take this corner to that corner and cross the horizon line, we will have our diagonal vanishing point. It crosses the horizon line right there. Diagonal vanishing point. That's my horizon line. Connect your diagonal vanishing point then to this corner. Wherever our diagonal line crosses the lighting track, we can then connect to our far vanishing point and create the near edge of the next light. Right here, it crosses the lighting track there, new point to connect to our diagonal vanishing point. The line that connects to our diagonal vanishing point crosses the lighting track right there. We can connect that dot to our far vanishing point and get the diminishing perspective of full units coming down. Diagonal vanishing point crosses the line there. Diagonal vanishing point crosses the line all the way down the hall. How many of these lights do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that we've got to fit there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's where it'll be, right there. That's just the near edge. What about the far edge of each of those lights? The far edge comes about right here. I'm just measuring that. Where does it come across this wall? If I hold up my pencil to it, like this. Right about there. Connect that to the vanishing point. Draw it out. About like that. And the magic here, so here's the full light right here. The far edge of the near light. It's right here. It crosses our diagonal, and we can take that all the way down to this vanishing point. And it crosses each of these diagonals, and we get the far edge of each light. Just like that. Light, 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 light. It'll become a lot more apparent as we draw them in. The fact is, there's an interesting space right here that there should be another light. I don't know why there isn't. So we're going to count that as having a light, even though it doesn't. And so actually we need to have 1, 2, 3 space. That's 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. So 1 space wait. You have 1, 2, 3, and then there's the space, which is 4, and 5, 6, 7 lights down the hall. So 1, 2, 3, and then this is actually a space, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's going to be more of these down the hall. At the point where it gets so compressed, you can just kind of guess where they're going to be, though. All right, we've got those lights on this side. We've got to take care of the lights on this side in similar fashion. How many do we see up there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's one in the hall that goes the other direction. No spaces. Easily done. Well, I can tell that there's a light that if I draw a line up here and connect to the vanishing point, I'll see the near edge of the near light right there. Near edge, near light. It's possible. My angle is so wide that, well, I don't think I'm going to see the other light up here on the ceiling. Okay. Near edge, near light. Same deal as on the right hall. I've got to figure out where the near edge of the next light is. Near edge first light. Where's the near edge for the second light? And where does it come across the wall, which is something I've already drawn? It's the far edge of the middle door, coming up right here. Creates a point to connect to the vanishing point, the Z vanishing point. So then we have our full unit of near edge to near edge. We can create our diagonal from this point to that point and take that down across the horizon line to our diagonal vanishing point right here. And take this corner down to horizon line, diagonal vanishing point. It crosses here. We connect that over to our Z vanishing point on the right side. It creates a new corner to create to the diagonal vanishing point. Connect. Wherever that line crosses, we have a new point to connect to Z and across the track. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 5. So we're going to keep going. There we go. 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, and the 5th light will be here. We only have the near edges of all those, and we need the far edges as well. So we got to figure out where the far edge is of the near light. Where does it come across the wall and down? If I draw a line up the door right here, up to the wall, connects a point right here to the vanishing point on this side and over the lighting track. Okay, and of course here's the magic again. So here's the far edge of the near light. Near edge of the near light. Wherever the far edge crosses that diagonal that we already drew, connect that to our near vanishing point right here. And it will cross every one of those diagonals down the line, and we can connect that to the other vanishing point. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down the hall. Diagonal vanishing point makes a big difference. I'm going to leave that other light. It'll be down there somewhere. About like that. All right. Well, that's easy. It's too easy. Okay, that's basically it. There's everything else is just kind of detail work that you've got to do. For instance, that we actually have a little door frame here on the door. That door frame is going to come all the way down all of these doors. Like so. And there's a doorknob. It's below the horizon line. Like that. It actually creates a little track for each of the doorknobs connected to the vanishing point. The funny thing about these other doorknobs is they open on the other side. Not like that. This is just the basic line drawing. We're going to clean it up. Here's the drawing overlaid on the photograph. It's not perfect, but it lines up pretty well. I've cleaned up a lot of the lines to make it look better, done some erasure.